Hello and welcome to Fighter Lore, a new series in which I tell you all about the backstory of fighting game characters. To start the series, it naturally has to be an introduction to Ryu, the basic bitch of fighting games. Since the very beginning of the Street Fighter series, Ryu and Ken have been regarded as the easiest characters to play in Street Fighter history, with an easy to learn, some might argue easy to master, moveset. He's seen by many as the protagonist of Street Fighter, but is often just associated with your generic "I train to be the best martial artist," when there is, in fact, more to it than that. So let's go from the very beginning and see just how deep Ryu's character can go. This particular video will skip over Street Fighter V as to avoid spoilers, and also because this video is going to be pretty long without it. I will likely produce separate videos for the Street Fighter V storylines of the characters I do these videos on. Shoryuken! Before he gained fame at the Street Fighter tournaments, Ryu was an unfortunate orphan with no memory of his parents or their fates. Adopted by an old dude named Goken, Ryu is raised in a dojo and trained in the martial art Shotokan. In the Street Fighter universe, Shotokan comes with a heavy price known as Satsui no Hado, which means surge of murderous intent, and comes to Shotokan users who embrace the violent and dark aspects of the art. The evil force this creates consumes the fighter and changes them into dark, evil versions of themselves. Goken, however, practices a version of Shotokan that does not use Satsui no Hado techniques, so Ryu, and by extension Ken, do not have to suffer the consequences of the art. Goken trains Ryu alongside his best friend's son, Ken Masters, where Ryu and Ken form a rivalry we all know and love. At the age of 23, Goken urges Ryu to go out into the world and test his skills, and so Ryu leaves to join the World Warrior Tournament. And so we come into the first Street Fighter game, where Ryu beats up a whole bunch of characters using his training and earns the right to fight the host of the World Warrior Tournament, Sagat. Sagat proceeds to badly injure Ryu during their battle and nearly knocks Ryu out completely. Thinking the battle's over, Sagat approaches his opponent and honourably tries to help him up. Suddenly, Ryu, engulfed by the Satsui no Hado, strikes Sagat with incredibly powerful Metsu Shuriken that not only almost kills Sagat, but leaves him with a permanent scar on his chest. Sagat swears vengeance as Ryu leaves him behind to head home. Ryu's story in Street Fighter Alpha begins with him returning home to find Goken has been murdered. Ryu finds out a man named Akuma is the culprit and sets himself out to find his sensei's murderer, eventually tracking him down to a small island called Gokuento. Akuma allows Ryu to win a fight against him in order to test his power, noticing they are both users of the Shotokan art. Akuma tells Ryu about the Satsui no Hado, and as a display of strength smashes the island with his fist, leaving Ryu stranded. After somehow escaping the island, Ryu finds Ken, who fights and defeats Ryu. Noticing something is up, Ken gives Ryu his red headband as a token of friendship and to help him to remain focused. Ryu has worn that headband in every single Street Fighter title since, chronologically, and it has become a signature part of his look. Ryu soon after gets a taste of his fame when a young girl named Sakura asks Ryu to train her. He declines, saying he has too much left to learn, but allows Sakura to take a picture of him. Ryu then meets a still recovering Sagat and allows himself to be beaten so as not to worsen Sagat's condition. Realizing this, Sagat puts his grudge on hold but vows to fight Ryu again. Skipping ahead another 2 years, Ryu is cautious of what Akuma told him on Gokuento and is troubled after a battle with Rose, an underling of M. Bison. Rose prophesies that Ryu will be unable to defeat Bison unless he sacrifices his soul in the process. Just as Rose said, Ryu is defeated and brainwashed by Bison after they fight. Bison notices that the Satsui no Hado is somewhat similar to his own psycho power. Sagat, Ken, and Sakura then all pop out of nowhere and rescue Ryu. With Ken and Sakura as the bait, Sagat fights Ryu and helps him come to his senses. Ryu then fights Bison again and temporarily defeats him. The second World Warrior Tournament comes around, and Ryu enters in order to test his skills against the new fighters, convincing Ken to enter as well. However, he spends less time fighting the other members of the tournament and more time helping them to defeat Bison, who commits suicide after he refuses to surrender. Unfortunately, Ryu takes a bit of a backseat role in Street Fighter 2, and it is never revealed who the champion of the tournament is. Some sources state that Ryu is defeated by Ken at some stage in the tournament, while others say that Ryu wins, so it's left utterly ambiguous.
This is our war. Street Fighter 4.
Street Fighter 4 opens with Ryu training alone in the desert, still troubled by Akuma's words, even though it's been a very long time since they last met. Ryu finds a bar where he hears about an American martial arts champion by a biker named Rufus. This martial arts champion has supposedly abandoned his family. Believing it to be Ken, Ryu heads to the address but is attacked by Counter Viper, herein known as Sea Viper. Sea Viper defeats Ryu, but is then ambushed by Cammy, who Sea Viper also defeats. Viper then begins torturing Cammy, which forces Ryu to become possessed by the Satsui no Hado. The evil Ryu tries to kill Viper, but she escapes, and in a rage Ryu slaughters, that's right, kills, the scientists who witnessed the events. Ken, Chun-Li, Guile, and Sakura then all show up to restrain Ryu and call the hospital for Cammy. Going to Ken's mansion, Ryu regains consciousness and realizes what he has done. He discovers he is being targeted by an organization called SIN and its leader Seth, and goes with Guile to investigate Seth's cruise ship. Ryu battles Seth on the ship and is defeated, only to awaken a new power which he almost kills Seth with. Ryu senses that Ken has the same power before he collapses from it. A few days after escaping the cruise ship, Ryu parts ways with Ken, stating they will meet again. A new tournament unknowingly orchestrated by SIN begins, and Ryu joins. During the tournament, he gets to fight Ken again, and Sakura, who he encourages to continue her training. He also battles Sagat, though the outcome of that fight is unknown again. During the final round of the tournament, Ryu fights a clone of Seth at the SIN headquarters. A BLECE machine, a weapon of mass destruction that uses the power of human ability, is present during the fight, and when Ryu uses the Satsui no Hado, the building falls around them. After defeating the Seth clone, Sakura appears and is knocked down by a pulse from the machine. Ryu strikes the machine with a mighty Shoryuken to protect Sakura, and the machine is destroyed. They leave together, disaster averted. Ryu then discovers that Goken was alive the whole time, and he seals the Satsui no Hado within Ryu, knocking him unconscious. Okuma, being the nosy bastard that he is, intrudes on the scene and challenges his brother Goken to a fight to the death, the winner claiming the cub, Ryu. Another battle we don't know the outcome of, but it's assumed that Goken wins because Ryu never embraces the Satsui no Hado again, as to the current date. Everything is great, and all the characters go their separate ways. As previously mentioned, I'm not going to go over Street Fighter V with Ryu, because there's already way too much to go over for one video. I may make another in the future just for that section of the story, but this particular video ends with Street Fighter III, the final game so far in the chronological timeline. Years and years pass after the events of Street Fighter IV, and the third World Warrior tournament is announced in typical fashion. Ryu enters, as you might expect, and once again fights a bunch of people. He's defeated by a fighter named Oro, a weird-looking old dude who offers to make Ryu his successor. After the tournament, Ryu beats Ken in a friendly spar, continually beats a guy named Sean with a single Hadouken, and weirdly becomes the tag team wrestling partner of a giant man named Hugo. He defeats Alex, a pro wrestler, and encourages him to get stronger. In the end, we see Ryu under a waterfall doing training exercises. He cheesily reminisces over his past and goes all philosophical about the mind and body and fighting, etc., and vows to continue fighting stronger opponents. So there you have it. The character who's typically seen as generic or boring does actually have some depth to his character. He makes me think of Luke Skywalker for some reason, as he battles against the dark side and all that. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, dislike, comment, and subscribe for more content, and remember, keep fighting on.